Alrighty folks, let's look at a MACD divergence trade that happened on the Euro-US dollar pair December the 1st. It was today. I tell you, my memory's going on me here, but because I actually had this trade on here. And so what it is look, I mean, the euro has rallied up, had this big giant rally yesterday, the 30th, and hit this old level of support and resistance. You see that there? And then today it rallied up like this. Now I want to show you what it did intraday and how you can start to recognize this. And on the 4-hour chart, this is the level that it rallied up to, which was a pretty good level of support resistance for before. We just saw that on the daily chart. If you start measuring your Fibonacci levels, like from this pretty obvious swing high here, I hope that's obvious, down to this low, interestingly, that was a 79% Fibonacci retracement to that same place. And look at that bounce off that. This was on the 30th. This was yesterday. Then price comes down and rallies back up. And if you look at the 1-hour chart on that rally, here's what it did. It went from this high down to the low. Whoops, I got to get the right tool on there, don't I? I kind of screwed that up. And let me just try this again. And we'll just put the Fibonacci on here. So you go from the high down to the low here, and you look at the retracement levels, and you get 135.08, something like that. Now, what it did is it went flying up here, and or actually we should use this low here because that's the lowest low, so that's the one that you want to use. But when it did it, here's what I want you to see up here. When it came back up to this level, look at this rejection here. Like that's an inverted hammer, right? You remember in the candlesticks part of the course, that's an inverted hammer. That's negative. But what was very interesting is that on the 15-minute chart at the same time, the price went higher. Okay, this is the very same time that we just saw. Let me go back to the 1-hour chart for a minute just so you can understand this. I can even put the Fibonacci's on here, or probably the data on here. So I'll go like this, so you can see the time and everything. I want you to understand what I'm talking about here. This is the, if you look at where it says time right here, it'll say 9 a.m. That's the 9 a.m. Eastern candle. Okay, it's closed at 9 a.m. If I go to the 15-minute chart, that's this candle right here. I'll put the same box on primary. It's this candle right here. You see it there, 9 a.m. on the first, right there, right up in here. I'll just put my mouse over the candle, 9 a.m. So I'm talking the same time. Look at the prices going higher, but the MACD's actually starting to go down. Okay, the peaks were going down. So what is that? And we came back down. Just before I talk about this, down to this 3470 level, which was support or resistance, and now, but it was the neckline here. You see that? So we need to see price test that and then bounce again, and it did. So as it started to bounce, as it's going up, we want to measure the fibs from the high down to the low. Okay, 3508. That's where I actually have my limit order waiting in there, and it spiked up into there, got me filled, and started to do this, and it went down real nicely. Now, I kind of got ahead of myself a little bit here, but when this is all happening in here, what else should you be doing? You should be checking to see what the index is doing. What's the dollar index? Because this is the euro against the US dollar. Well, over in the dollar index, let's look at a 4-hour chart. Look at this level right here. Look at this support. This is the time right in here when this little MACD divergence happened on the euro. This is where the candles were. Look at this level of resistance and support in here. So we can expect there to be a bounce up on the US, which will be down on the euro-US dollar. We're looking at the 1-hour chart. Look at this. Here's where it was. This is that same here. Let me put this on here for you so you can see it. That same 9 a.m. Eastern candle. Look at that. Read the time in the display, in the data display there. 9 a.m. Eastern. That is what? That's a hammer. That's bullish. Okay, and so if we go back to our euro, that was right here, that this is what was happening on the 15-minute chart. And to top it all off, what had happened is that the stock market had rallied up and was really consolidating. Here, let me show you what that looked like on the 4-hour chart of the stock market here. This is the Dow 30. Look what had happened. This is all in this time, the same time. Here's that this is the 4-hour chart, but this is the action. Look at this. That's a bearish engulfing candle. Remember we saw that in the course too. Bearish engulfing. That's negative as it comes after this run up in price in here. And so that gets us on the alert that, hey, things could be going down here. If that's going to go down, how's that going to affect the US dollar? The US dollar is probably going to rally, right? So do you see how this all fits together? Actually, if I zoom this out a little bit, watch this. This is the very high that it made to the very low that it made. You could look at this on a daily chart or wherever you want, but I just want to show you from this very high to this very low, 79%. See that? So, and that's where we got this indecision up here at the same time that we were getting all of this stuff happening on the euro. I'm giving you a pretty detailed analysis of this one, but this is the way it all happened. That it all came down. So I moved this ahead a little bit, but price came up 35.08, and you got a nice move out of this. Actually, you got your classic A out of this, no problem. You got actually all the way down to 34.50, which was a nice level. It was just getting profit off down here was good. So there was all sorts of ways to take profit on this one. Selling at 35.08. The high here is at 35.20. So you got 15 to 20 pips is all you need for the risk on that. As a classic A though, you had to get down to 88 to get your profit on as a classic A. I'm sorry, down to 68. 40 pips, and it made it down there quite easily, no problem, pretty quickly actually. So anyway, there you go. Just wanted to point the setup to you, and that happened on the Euro US dollar pair, December the 1st. We're making our way towards Christmas 2011.